Time now for the Iame Bambino final at the 2020 London Cup by BKC. Teddy Porter and George House from Jenson Short and Austin Gibson. Leonardo Gorski and Jalaith Sayer from Luke Millward and Freddie Denton. Rounding out the top 10 is Jenson Chalk and Jack Jones. Jenson Brown and Efan Owen on the 6th row from Archie Rutter, Bo Rushby, Ronnie Carter, Will Green, and then Daniel Meron-Laurent. It's going to be an interesting battle for the 17 as they charge up to Stadium Bend for the first time. And once more, in Iame Bambino, it is a standing start. So they learn the hard way as they try and creep off the grid. They've obviously got to make sure they all start correctly. And is it going to be a clean start from the front of the grid for Teddy Porter? Let's find out and race at Rye House. And it looks like a pretty cracking start to me. Looks like an even better start for Jenson Short. He gets up the inside and takes the lead. Brilliant start from Jenson Short. He launches forward in brilliant style. We're on board with Daniel Meron-Laurent, who had to start the race from the back of the grid, but he's already picking them off one by one. Look, trying to squeeze around the outside of Austin Gibson, and he's on the grass. He's managed to get back on and then back off again. Oh, Daniel Meron-Laurent, absolutely no luck at all. We lost Owen, we lost Rutter. They've both gone off together with Daniel Meron-Laurent, but that was a brilliant start. Unfortunately, nipped in the bud and spun away.
Efan Owen spun, I think, in the hairpin. We never quite saw that because we were on board there with Laurent. But, well, we know he's got a lot of quality, Jake. He's going to have to show it now. And, of course, if he does, we'll get all the action because he's got the 360 camera on.
Well, Jenson Short is going to have George House on the inside line into the first corner. He gets there, nicely done. And those killer teeth on the front fairing, obviously very intimidating as Jenson Short loses ground to George House. Here we go. Daniel Meron-Laurent gets a move on the inside line this time for Archie Rutter. And that's one picked off. Next up is going to be Efan Owen. He's catching him very quickly indeed. He's going to make his launch for the inside line. And he might even get the run on Bo Rushby in the same breath. He does! Brilliant move from Meron-Laurent.
Great driving. Great driving. Here's another one as well, the 38 Kart.
Absolutely just picking them off one by one. I think Luke Millward has had an incident there in the middle of the race because he was in the top 8 at the end of the first lap. So a bit of a problem there as he's come through. And that has dropped him down the order. 3 wide nearly as up the inside. Short gets a move on the inside of George House. He shuts the door fairly firmly. Now up the inside again comes Daniel Meron-Laurent on Ronnie Carter as he gets through. He's already dealt with Millward. Now he gets past Ronnie Carter as well. That's up to 12th position. How many more places can he make up in this one as Leonardo Gorski on the O plate gets a new fastest lap? 46.6.
Made 5 places up on that last lap there, Laurent. So that's what he's done so far. What can he do from now on? Gorski with the fastest lap. It's Porter out front from George House, Jenson Short, Gorski. I was going to say, Jake, earlier on, what's happened to the British champion? Jenson Short has started down. So where did he start, Jake? He started in 9th place, P9 for Jenson Short. I'm not sure what problem. There he is on the 1 kart. The 1 denotes him as a British champion. There's a 3 kart, 3rd in the British Championship, of course.
That's
going
Austin
through.
Gibson.
It's Austin Gibson, another driver of great quality.
In fact, the two of them are actually duelling for position together, I think.
Yeah, they're both struggling today on a day when you would expect them to be coming here and be absolute favourites to be right on the front row, but they're having to do it from the mid-pack.
Yeah,
but they're both drivers of great quality, the pair of them.
Indeed they are. We just saw Gibson there battling with the brilliantly named Jack Jones. You know who he's going to be approaching for a sponsor one day.
Sing us a song, Jack. Sing us a song.
Well, you know who he's going to be approaching for a sponsorship in the future, don't you? Jack Jones, the clothing brand. So there you go. That's all sorted as far as...
I was thinking Jack Jones the singer.
Oh, of course you were, yes.
I'm showing my age.
Oh, there you go. Well, there's 2 places he can go for sponsorship in the future then. So Jenson Short gets the fastest lap as Daniel Meron-Laurent gets his move on Jenson Brown. Nicely done as he comes across the line for 10th position. And he's not done yet. There's still some good duels going through as up the inside. That's Freddie Denton getting his move on Jenson Brown. Back towards the front. That is Gorski battling away with the 44 of Jenson Short. He's got through. So Jenson Short, who's carrying his very nice and tidy Lewis Hamilton tribute lid. Very appropriate considering he runs as number 44. Jenson Short in 4th place behind Leonardo Gorski, but Teddy Porter running in the lead in front of George House. House is pushing very hard indeed to try and get one over on Teddy Porter, who has almost led this race from day one. But he's had to fight his way back into the lead after a slightly sluggish start. It was that man, the 44, Jenson Short, that got into the lead initially. But momentum has returned to Porter. He leads the way. Is up the inside. Gorski protects the line from Jensen Short. That was not an overtake. That was protecting the inside line to thwart one from Jensen Short. And he holds it nicely on the way through the apex. Infield, out of outfield, still going well. And there goes Daniel Miron-Laurent. I think that was a spin through the hairpin.
In the middle of the hairpin. Will Green set the fastest lap, by the way, down in P6. George House doing really well today. I've seen George a few times this season at Hooton Park, Jake. Has been a regular there, but never really seemed to perform particularly well on several occasions. But we know he's a driver of great quality. It's always surprised me when I see him running around in 5th or 6th place at Hooton Park. But today, finally, starting to see what he's all about here in 2nd place.
Well, as we've said it a number of times, it's all about confidence as you start to build up your calibre and credence. The man who spun just in front of Daniel Miron-Laurent, it was Jack Jones. He has tumbled down to 13th place now, just in behind Jensen Brown, but he's got plenty of time to work his way forward. Isn't it amazing what one Formula One world champion can do for the karting grids? Jensen Brown, Jensen Short, Jensen Short. There's quite clearly a lot of Formula One loving dads who thought, well, that's a brilliant new name for the world of the next generation of racers, isn't it? There's Jensen's all over the shop.
And they're naming them as babies, knowing that basically I'm a Formula One fan, so this kid's going to be racing karts whether he likes it or not.
Well, that's it. Well, there was a fabulous trend in around about 98, 99 into 2000 where all the kids were called Damon in the world of young karting. They all kind of follow the trend. And I'm fairly sure in about 3 or 4 years' time there's going to be a heck of a lot of young racing drivers called Lewis. I'm fairly sure they're all going to come through.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. This is the battle for the lead. Porter, House, Gorski and Short. One of the leader, or the race winner, you would think is going to come from one of these four. And at the moment, it looks like Porter's just got everybody's measure.
I'm going to give one shout out though and kudos to the man in 5th place, Jalaith Sayer, doing a great job in P5 up in front of the likes of Chalk, Gibson, Miron-Laurent, Denton, some great racers, and Jalaith Sayer doing a fantastic job as things currently stand. Jensen Short currently the fastest driver on track, 0.8 of a second off the lead, so the quartet up front doing a grand job. There is Jalaith Sayer, you just saw there, the 49, there he is, just trying to keep hold of this lead. Jensen Chalk has got through past Will Green.
And this is the back end there.
It's great defence though from Sayer because that's the British champion right behind. And Jalaith Sayer is just soaking up the pressure.
Not going to be behind for long though, Jake. I'm going to predict that. Can I just put that one right out there? I don't think
you can bank
Jensen
it now if you
Chalk
want.
will be sitting in 7th for long.
Well, it's 6th position now, obviously. Jensen Chalk, because Will Green has had to tuck back into 7th place for the time being. Gorski still there in 3rd. As House continues to pressure Teddy Porter. Just under 5 minutes left of the race. So Jensen Chalk, if he can get a decent move on Jalaith Sayer, does actually still have enough time to catch up to this leading 4 and bid for the victory. It's not done and dusted yet by any means, especially if battles like this carry on. George House getting side by side with Porter. Porter chops across to take his racing line. George House has to blip the throttle to avoid contact.
Great racing in this Iame Bambino class. It is a great class for the Bambinos to be in. It's unique to BKC, of course.
That's Bo Rushby. So Bo Rushby is going to move over and let the leaders come by. So nice battle from the top 3. They don't lose a massive amount of ground. Jensen Short, though, has fallen a little way off the trio. So I don't know whether that's to do with a mistake he's made or whether he's encountered somebody in the wrong place and wrong time. But the battle really is split. Oh, Gorski goes wide. He clips the curb on the inside.
I think he went for the move up the inside and got it all wrong. And he's run wide on the exit, and that's cost him a good 2 or 3 kart lengths. He's off the back of them now.
And Jensen Short is as well. So now it's just the 2 of them as they battle away, Porter and House. But the more they squabble for the lead, the more likely it is that Gorski, Short, and then possibly Sayer and Chalk are going to close back in again.
Chalk still in 5th place behind Sayer. That's a bit of a surprise. Let's see where he is at the end of this lap.
Here we go. George House is going to try something new here. Watch this. He comes around the outside, trying to tuck in for the inside. Well read by Teddy Porter. He shuts the door on the inside line. He knew exactly what George House was going for, but he held his kart to the inside line. He did not open the door, as Dan Miron-Laurent is going to have a nice battle here with Freddie Denton. Denton to the inside line, gets the move. This is so nearly the place lost again there from Denton. That's what I was talking about. Teddy Porter read that if the kart drifts out wide, it opens the door for the kart behind to go for the move, but he read it well. He knew that George House would try a switchback move, and he didn't let it start. He just kept the kart nice and planted through the inside of the apex. So Porter, House, Gorski, Short, who is still the fastest man on the track in one lap. And here's the battle for fifth. Sayer is still there in front of Jensen Short. He's doing a great job holding the British champion at bay.
Fantastic job. It's a great performance there. Any time you can hold the British champion off for lap after lap is a great performance. So Sayer, obviously a name to watch for in the future, Jake.
Here comes Danny Miron-Laurent. He's going to get his move again on Freddie Denton, and Miron-Laurent comes through, gets the move. Chalk gets through on Sayer. Sayer defends and fights back and retakes the place.
I love that.
Oh, that was beautifully done from Sayer.
He's loving it. He's loving it, Sayer, because he's looking at that kart there. He's seeing the number one on it. He knows the quality of that driver sitting in that car. That is the British champion you're racing against, and you're bringing it to him and you're giving him all sorts of problems.
He's shut the door again. Brilliant from Jarlath Sayer. This is a race they're going to be replaying over and over again, and they'll be saying, that's how you drive. Right there, that's how you drive. Brilliant. Porter, House, Gorski still pulling away out front. Short is actually falling into the clutches of Sayer and Chalk. Whether there's a slight issue on the setup, the tyres are starting to go off, whatever it might be, is on the inside. That's Millward. He gets through on Freddie Denton. So Luke Millward makes the move. Here comes George House again on Teddy Porter. Leonardo Gorski's still there in third, but has dropped a second off Porter. So these two still squabbling away for position. Now Jensen Short is now a target for Jarlath Sayer to make the overtake. If we look back in the distance, we'll be able to see the battle emerge. And who comes through first? Is it still Jensen Short? Only just. And now Chalk has got through. So Chalk has got through in a position. Again, good defence on the inside from Porter to hold off George House. But Chalk has got through past Jarlath Sayer. We're on board with Dan Miron-Laurent as he gets through on the inside to lap Bo Rushby. So he gets through no problem at all. But George House still questing after this lead from Teddy Porter. He's got a good run off the hairpin. Tries to tuck back in on the exit of outfield. They're going to go side by side, and in front of them is Archie Rutter. He has to bail out of it again, otherwise there could have been a nasty incident there. This is Jack Jones battling away with Jensen Brown. And then we've also got Efan Owen and Ronnie Carter going wheel to wheel. Some great races all the way through the field.
And another one as well. Here they come, the leaders. They're going to approach in these back markers, but even the back markers are in their own race and getting on with it, and it's fantastic to see that you've got these battles all the way through the field.
Chalk has made his way past Short for fourth place, so Jensen Chalk, the British champion, now into P4, but he's got 6 seconds to make up and 10 seconds are left on the timing screens. There's not going to be enough time to bid for third position on raw pace. He's got to hope that this is the absolute mother of all duels to the flag. And George House is definitely trying to make a good race of it. Porter again protects the inside line, cuts back across to take the racing line. No contact between the two, but it's the ultimate defensive tactic in that corner. And it keeps Teddy Porter in the lead one more time around. But he's got to go one more lap around this circuit, holding the inside line. He doesn't even need to defend. He's got a couple of kart lengths on George House to the first corner. But he's so nervous at this point. You've got to remember these are little kids that are racing around. He's just got to try and keep the momentum with him. He's doing a fair job at the moment. Jensen Short's lost ground to Jarlath Sayer now. So Sayer's got through into P5. This is a great race.
Short set the fastest lap. Short with the fastest lap, highlighted there in green, but here is the race lead. It looks like Porter's going to take a couple of back markers out front of him. This could affect him, but I think he's going to be okay. I think he'll just about catch them as they get onto the straight rather than in the corner. If they were catching them here, it would be a problem. But he's going to be okay. It's going to be Porter that takes it, Jake, from George House, and Gorski's going to finish third. And Porter sets the fastest lap.
Great drive. The final lap of the race is the fastest lap from Teddy Porter, and he takes the London Cup title 2020 with it. Brilliant bit of racing for Teddy Porter in the end there to fend off from George House. Leonardo Gorski, as you mentioned, on the podium. Some great racing all the way through this Iame Bambino field. But it's Porter, House and Gorski on the rostrum. Chalk is fourth, a good fight back from him. Jarlath Sayer, what a character-building race for him in P5. Will Green comes home ahead of Jensen Short in the final reckoning, with Austin Gibson, Dan Miron-Laurent from the back, and Luke Millward rounding out the top 10. Brilliant drive from Teddy Porter.
I started pole. I was under a lot of pressure by 85 and George. It was a great race and I finished on checkered flag.
We'll finish our London Cup coverage with Honda Cadet here at Rye House coming up in part 7.